Hi, everybody. It's me. It's Dr. Kestler from Lorain County Community College, and welcome to today's video. I was about to take a sip of coffee, but then I realized the camera was on, and I might as well go with it. Any rate, today's the 23rd, and my temperature is 95.6 degrees, and that is Fahrenheit, or 35.3 degrees centigrade. I'm getting this out a lot later today than I like to, and I apologize for that. Yesterday was Earth Day, and one of the things that have happened in Earth Day is the world has got a little bit healthier as a result of COVID-19. Yeah, I meant that. I meant what I just said, and we got a little healthier because it stopped us from driving cars around, and nobody's driving cars around right now in a lot of places. And if you look at this, the image here, this is taken by NASA, and you will see that there is definite decrease in the nitrogen dioxide that is produced, one of the pollutants that comes out of cars, as a result of from March 19th is what they're looking at, and they're looking at the past tense. So the top image here shows you New York. You can see Pittsburgh on there with respect to the pollution that's produced, and you can see Cleveland on there and Detroit. And then you go down to this year, and you'll see that Pittsburgh seems a little bit smaller. New York still has a bit of traffic going on because I'm assuming there's a lot of activity going on there. And why this is good news is because one of the things that people who have COVID need is good air. This is a respiratory illness, and we know, for instance, later on I'm going to talk about why some people are more susceptible to respiratory illnesses than others. We know for a fact that that if you clean the air up, you're going to make a little bit healthier for a lot of people. So not only this is a good thing for people with COVID, it's also good people with asthma, etc. We know that there is a less disease burden as a result of that. I want to point out that where we are right now, if we lump all of Europe together, then we don't have to feel so bad, because if we don't lump Europe together, we're leading. But this is in terms of deaths. Yesterday, by the way, or today, or whenever that was, 2,000 Americans died from COVID-19. I would also argue that might be a good deal higher. And I'll get to that in a second here. But you can see, unless these lines that you're looking at here, the reported deaths slide is the one I'm looking at, unless they go flat, you're not solving the problem. You're not at the place where you need to be. You see, China's gone flat, and then China bumped up a little bit. So I am concerned about a potential second wave. And while we're looking at it, so where is the first wave right now? And you can see that in places that the new cases, these are new cases I'm looking at on this chart, you can see new cases appear to be going in the right place in the United States, appear to be going in the right place in Italy, but it's still kind of hanging in there, and appear to be going in the right place in a lot of other places, on the rise in Russia. Britain, that's still kind of going strong, but we have to eliminate it. And you heard me right. I am talking about the potential second wave. I'm going to reward all of you for your wonderful, wonderful behavior on the first wave. We really have done a great job at suppressing the virus. We could have done a better job had we done it earlier. I'm going to get into that in 2 seconds. But we've done a great job, and the job that we need to do is to keep it up. We absolutely have to keep this going, because otherwise we get that second bump, and it could be much worse. In order for us to open up, Bill Gates this morning wrote an editorial where he said that we should be doing the following kinds of things. First of all, testing and surveillance. Testing and surveillance is a very important thing. We are not going to be able to be testing everybody. I want to point that out. We can't just test everybody like every single soul in the United States. We need to be able to smart test people. We need to look for people that we want to test. And contact tracing is the way of going about that. For those of us who've worked in sexually transmitted diseases, contact tracing for years has been the way that we have done public health. It is brilliant because you go after and you find the right cases, you find the people you need to find, and then you get them into treatment or some sort of prevention. We need to continue our development of vaccines. We need to keep ready. We have a lot of irons in the fire. I don't know which one's going to work, which one's going to be the one. I am a veteran of vaccine campaigns, and I know that you try a bunch of things and you hope that you find the right one. We need to be looking at drugs. We need to be looking at antibody drugs because we already have been playing around with those a little bit, and if we can make some sort of an antibody that we can deliver to people in a drug setting, that would be fantastic. And then we're going to need, when all of that's over, we're going to need an infrastructure for delivering these two things, delivering the vaccine and for delivering the drugs. We need to build that capacity. And I've seen people reference the COVID story in the same way that we reference World War II. And I think, in World War II, all of you are too young, and I'm too young, but those of our grandparents, my grandparents' generation, knew what it was like when the country was totally on one topic. And that was it. We did everything. Everything was about it. And no matter what have you done for the war today? What are you doing for the war today? What are you doing? I think we all have to think about it that way, that we work this shared system. And the reason that surveillance is so important, because, we missed a lot of cases. On March 1st, if you look at this figure on the left-hand side here, March 1st, the upper part of this figure, upper left-hand part of this figure, the part that is circled, was the number of cases that we officially had in the United States. We now are fairly certain that was not the case at all. Some people were telling me that, oh, you're crazy when you were saying that there's like 150,000 people that could potentially be exposed in Ohio. I remember that, like, you're cray. Yeah, there may have been that many people. If you look back in New York, the number of cases may have been more like 100 or 10,000 cases. And so when we lock down, you got to lock down before those cases are allowed to percolate. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They got caught during it. On the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see a picture from Science Magazine. This was just pointed out to me today, where they're looking for COVID-19 in sewage, and there is a reason for that, because that is a way of sensing. That is using technology to find things when they're first getting started up, when a disease is just starting breaking, and then you can devote your efforts to it. When we had a vaccine for H1N1, this is way back in 2009, we had that vaccine. We delivered it not to everybody at once. We delivered it to where it was needed most. We need to be very smart about the way that we deliver health care. Deliver vaccines, deliver those sort of things. We need to be able to figure out where the virus is before it is a thing. So that's the kind of thing. We don't need to test every single person. I don't think that's going to be possible. But it is possible to, as we open up the spigot, as Governor Cuomo calls it, opening up the spigot. As we open up the spigot and allow people back in, we can take care of things a little bit better. While I'm on the subject of healthcare, I want to really make a pitch to you all to take advantage of healthcare, and all kinds of healthcare. If you are sick, go to the doctor. If you feel like you're having a heart attack, go to the doctor. And if you have COVID-19, go to the doctor. And I know that it is, if you accept that you're going to die, you probably are. But if you'd like to have a fighting chance, go to the doctor, go to the hospital. They really can help you. They really are doing good things. And that is, I know that you might have a fear that you're going to end up alone and dying, but there are some good things going on. And those good things that go on, it might be, you might also, I think a lot of people in America, I just saw this article in the local paper this morning, and it's talking about the fact that there is, in the United States right now, there are 28 million people who don't have insurance, and that number might go up as high as, I forgot what the number is, so I'm kind of cheating here and looking, I think 53 million more, or 35 million more. 35 million more as a result of losing health insurance because you are losing a job, which has occurred for a lot of people here. And so in this article, they're talking about making Medicare for all, or for the people who are uncovered, which will be a great benefit for COVID-19 sufferers. And I do encourage you to get your regular health care. I heard an article about how men don't go to the doctor. Men don't get care, and they end up with worse outcomes. Getting to the doctor earlier is better than later. And as we're speaking, new things are becoming available to everyone, so it is something to think about. I also hear that a lot of people are not getting well vaccines, well baby visits, and those kinds of things. The governor in this state has said, that's Governor DeWine has said that we should get you should get your health care that you need it. It is a very important thing. It is a very good thing for all of us to do. I'd like to take the last few seconds here to talk about my helpers. And this was posted by one of my helpers, and I know people are upset about being at home, having to suffer through cable television, having to suffer through, I know I need a haircut. I can see I need a haircut. And all the things that we have given up, but we are giving up things for a good reason, a common purpose. This is a noble effort. And, some of these people on the front line are my soldiers, my battle-scarred soldiers who are out there right now seeing all kinds of stuff, seeing relatives of yours dying from COVID-19, seeing all sorts of terrible things. And we all have to hang in a little bit longer to make sure, because once you are, I am clean. I've been 14 days inside at least. I've been a couple of months or a month and a half or whatever number of days, almost a month and a half inside. And if we all stay inside and we don't get out, then we can when we do go out, we don't have to worry about it coming out again. And that's our goal. This is a last thing I want to mention here before I do my send-off here is this came from my nephew, and the people out there who are protesting, the line is, it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And there is a very good reason that life is number one on that, because without life, there cannot be the other things. So your liberty, your pursuit of happiness should not come at the expense of other people, of people that you should not come at the expense of other people. We need to be a caring people. And so I encourage you all to be good to each other. I encourage you all to be helpers, and may you all persist like a lentivirus. Have a good night.